Welcome people to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making little half shutters for the windows. I have one cut right here, this little piece of wood, and ideally we want them to open and close, and I'm gonna make one for each of the 3 windows we have over here, and I'm super excited about doing this. It's something I've been thinking about doing for quite some time. I wanted to do something different in this space. I love the country / industrial look, and as you guys know, I've been working on this house for like ever. But this is the next step of my process, and it's not going to take me a day. This is probably going to take me more than a day, but I will shorten this film up as much as I can for you guys, and hopefully you get something out of it. At least if nothing else, you enjoy watching it and going through it with me. Please do not judge my dishes. Let's get started. Now that I got everything cut up, I'm gonna take my big boards and make a decision on whether or not I want them closed or if I want them apart. And I think I'm going to keep them a small amount of distance apart. And oh, I need one more thing. This. Okay, so now I'm going to put my little pieces of wood on here and figure out where I want them, and then I'm going to use my nail gun and I'm going to nail them in place. All I did to make sure that they were even was just line them up perfectly right next to one another. Make sure that the bottom, and then used leveler and made sure they were level. And I went across, just like you see me doing the little speed up. And I just did it, and I actually did it for all my boards. So all my boards are completely done for my window. So I got all these separated 1x4s is what I use. 1x4, 1x3s. And you also want to pay attention when you're doing that and you're getting your wood and you're measuring, because a little tip that I learned is they aren't actually what they say they are. They're not a 1x3 or a 1x4. They're like 3/4 by 2.5. And when I first started this video, I did a little mock-up of what I wanted to do, and it didn't fit. Oh. So I'm going to put a little list up here for you so you guys can see it of the actual measurements that you are going to need. So you don't make the same mistake I did, because that's what this is all about. This is why I do this stuff. So I learn and then you learn, and as you're doing it, you don't make the same mistakes I did. For this next part, we are going to take all of our hardware, and I can put this stuff down in the description box for you. These are, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do silver, if you want to do bronze, there's so many choices, beautiful choices, beautiful. And this is the stuff that I went with. These were fairly expensive because these were one of the smaller brackets that I could find, but I love them and I'm excited to give it a try. The first thing that I did with this window shutter is measured the distance. I already have one of these open. Measure the distance of how far you want it this. So I kind of took one single board and placed it up against the window and figured out where I wanted it along the wall. And I came up with 2.5 inches. So I marked it. Let me pick this up so you guys can see it. I marked the board at 2.5 inches. So that's where I'm going to put this. Before I get started with this, I'm going to take little sander. I think this is like a 100, 120. Don't quote me on that. And I'm just going to get rid of some of the rough edges. For this next part, you're going to really want to pay attention with this because you can easily put these little fold hinges on the wrong way and you want them to completely close. So you're going to want to make sure that this little joint, I'm going to see if I can get it, see where the little, there it is. See where there's a tiny bit of light where the line just ever so perfectly of the bracket meets up with the wood. That is where you're going to want to keep each spot on each piece of wood, and then they will fold just like a gem. Look at that. Wow. All right, now one of the last little things is we're going to get this one here. Another thing I learned in the process of all of this is we're not able to put the shutter right along here. You're going to have to create a frame. So you want to measure how wide this is so that way this can sit on here ever so nicely. And then you'll attach your brackets and your shutter will sit next to it, and that way it'll open and close. It is time for me to get this on our window frame here that we put up, and we want to try and just move the bottom up just a little bit, just a hair, so this way to swing. And I gotta pre-drill these holes. Bear with me, people. I'm gonna try and do this. Again, if you have a partner, that'd probably be a good idea. I'm doing this on my own, mainly because there's not enough room back here where my sink is. It's kind of crunchy. So I'm gonna try and get this up here. Bear with me. Now they give you screws with the brackets, but I'm going to use this 2-inch drywall screw. I feel like this is kind of heavy, and these little screws, while I'm going to use 3 of them, I still would feel fuzzier inside using one of these. Now that we are just about finishing up, we need to cover up these little holes. So we are on to my favorite part. I absolutely love to caulk. It is therapeutic for me. I'm sure there are professional ways to do it, and then there is my way to do it. So usually I'll kind of like either put a little bit on my finger or just a little bit on in a spot, and then I'll put some on there. And for those of you who have caulked before and are professionals or have other ways, I hope it works for you. This is how I do it. And for other people who maybe have never done it. So hopefully this helps somebody. Okay, so just a little on your finger, and then you can press it into the hole, and then I kind of just smooch away, and then press it into the hole, and we need some more, so I'm gonna put some on my finger, and then smooch away. And I keep a little wet paper towel right here and just wipe my fingers off and keep going. Smooch, smooch. And in about 20 minutes, because I think this is, let me show you what kind of, about 20 minutes, I think, roughly, we should be able to just kind of touch up the paint. Now that the caulk is all dry, we are going to touch up the paint, and I'm using this. Here we are, people, the final product. I am happy with how this turned out. It ended up taking me about 3 days to complete this project. I probably could have did it in one, but overall it wasn't a bad DIY. I'm pretty proud of myself, pat myself on the back a little bit. This might not be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, this is absolutely my style. If you guys like this video, please click like and do not forget to subscribe if you guys want to see more. Bye.